There is no doubt that in Australia we are seeing an increase in anti-Semitism, and in particular a surge of anti-Semitism from the neo-Nazis, with an increase in graffiti attacks featuring the swastika or words relating to Holocaust denial. This has always been around, of course, but it seems that the neo-Nazis have decided to upscale their activities, no doubt emboldened by the freedom and reach that social media provides for them. This issue has been building in intensity in the mainstream media and resulted in a major article in the Australian newspaper of 29th of July. Julie Nathan, the Executive Council of Australian Jewry's key person on anti-Semitism, was appropriately sought out for her views, and makes the valid point that the problem is coming from both the far left and the far right of politics. The article then goes on to relate how most of the Jewish world considers anti-Zionism to be the new form of anti-Semitism. As an example, Rabbi Shmuley Feldman of Chabad in Canberra is quoted as identifying anti-Semitism within our political system, and specifically names the Greens as one of the main culprits in this area. There is no shortage of criticism of Israel by the Greens, but just try to find a statement anywhere where they have explicitly criticised Palestinian terror activities. But the neo-Nazi anti-Semitism is where it's all happening at the moment, and Davir Abramovich, head of the Anti-Defamation Commission, came up with the idea that we should ban the swastika. I am certainly no fan of Nazi symbolism, but isn't this a tad silly? Surely the real problem is the ideology behind the swastika. So what's the point of trying to ban it? In any case, the neo-Nazis will just find some other symbol to glorify, such as the number 88, which represents Heil Hitler, as H is the 8th letter in the alphabet. So are we going to ban that too? And whatever comes after that? And after that? And the truth is, how would such a ban even be enforced? They can't even catch graffiti vandals now to prosecute, so how are they going to catch the idiots scrawling swastikas on fences? Abramovich is then quoted as saying, "This is why we need Section 18C of the Racial Discrimination Act. The problem is, apart from one successfully prosecuted case against Holocaust denier Frederick Tobin, it has never been used. All our communal organisations are too frightened to use it." And that brings me to the one other aspect to this discussion that seems to have escaped all those in the Jewish community who are asked for a comment: the M word. Time and again, when the subject of anti-Semitism comes up, the only subject our communal leaders will ever talk about is the neo-Nazi form of it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not minimising this for one moment. But if there is one significant source of anti-Semitism that, I think, is fueling the neo-Nazis, it is Islamic anti-Semitism. The Muslims are getting away with it because we turn a blind eye, and this only empowers the neo-Nazis. Islamic anti-Semitism is two-pronged. Firstly, there are the passages in their religious texts which are blatantly hostile to Jews, and we have all heard about them before. And then there is their deliberate rejection of Israel to exist as a Jewish state, because it offends the Islamic notion that once a land has been ruled by Islam, it must forever remain Muslim in nature. And what is now the state of Israel was once part of the Ottoman Empire. Everybody knows that Islam has a problem with Jews and Israel. From the most leftist, starry-eyed proponent of interfaith activity to the average member of the Jewish community. And by the way, if you want to see the very latest vile anti-Semitism coming out of the United States, Google an organisation called American Muslims for Palestine, founded by University of California professor Hatem Bazian. There is a 5-minute video on the AJA Facebook page which details this organisation's pure, unadulterated hatred of Jews and Israel. Its endorsement for violence and the destruction of Israel is quite chilling. Islamic anti-Semitism is a taboo subject in our community. It is the elephant in the room that must be avoided at all costs, because it may offend the Muslims and challenge the notion that all interfaith activity has to proceed in the interest of a multicultural Australia. But it is a sham, and it needs to be called out. But you won't hear this from any of our tame and lame communal organisations or our Jewish media. They are afraid of the Islamic community, and all the imams know it. That is why our communal bodies keep bending over backwards to pander to the Muslim community and get nothing in return from them. You will, however, hear it from the Australian Jewish Association, because we are the one and only organisation that exposes anti-Semitism from all sides of the political spectrum, without worrying about who might have their feelings hurt. And quite frankly, if more of our leaders were less worried about who they might offend, we in the Jewish community may just be that bit safer, and support for Israel would be just that much stronger. This is Alan Friedman from the Australian Jewish Association.